Why do you have full makeup on? Because you what?
I was in cosplay when Jalisa was like, "Hey, we're starting," so I just took the wig off and yeah.
No, put the wig back on.
No,
Yes, put it back on, Ellie.
no,
Put the wig back on.
no,
Why is your camera on? 100% cosplay.
no.
Yes, I missed something. What play? What play?
Cosplay, Miss Kelly. It's when you dress up as a character from a TV show, book, a movie, video game.
Anime.
It's what I do in my spare time.
What were
Because
you?
you're a weeb, Jalisa. Because you're a weeb.
Yes, I'm
You know
a
what, Gracie?
So what character were you? What character were you? This needs some therapy. What character were you, honey?
I was Kirishima from My Hero Academia.
Put the wig back on.
Oh
No.
my god.
You guys know who that is?
Yeah. I will shank you with a horseshoe.
No.
Gracie, we must tell you. Put the wig back on.
Hold up. We have to do some interventions here. Gracie, you have a horseshoe in your hand? Are you threatening the screen with it, honey?
What?
Are you threatening the screen with the horseshoe?
Put her wig back on.
Okay.
Ellie.
Yeah.
All right. Listen. Hey.
Nice.
Look. We're going to need to start this class.
Miss Kelly,
Yes, ma'am.
you can put the group on mute so that you can talk without interruption.
No, I want to hear them. I haven't heard them in such a long time.
Oh, Miss Kelly, you miss us. Mama, we love you too. Oh, Miss Kelly, you miss me.
I miss yelling at you, Ty.
Oh, wow.
I miss threatening you. Oh,
Me?
All right, so listen. Hello.
Yeah.
We're going to start our class.
Okay.
So this week, we're going to do this every week at your regular time that you would have your classes. And this week, we're going to study equine conformation. Okay? And
Yes, ma'am.
we're going to take a look at some conformations of how a horse should be balanced and what it should look like. Okay? So I'm going to oh, look, there's Alyssa. Look at you, honey. How are you?
Good. I miss the horses in the barn.
I know, honey, me too. Dominique ran me out of there yesterday.
I did not. I do not want you to tell me.
She threw me out. She threw me out.
Why is
of
your
there.
head down?
For your safety.
Oh, I'm taking notes.
Uh-oh, look at Grace.
Smart.
Grace is going to need some therapy. Honey, you okay?
What do you mean?
She's taking notes. She's taking notes.
Okay, you're going to take notes. All right, so I'm going to attempt to share my screen. But first, let me see if I can bring something up for you guys to take a look.
Liliana, you have the wig on yet?
I'm not putting it back on.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe.
The tiny little feet. More.
I feel hurt.
Oh.
See if this is going to do it.
Ow.
Oh, okay. All right. Do you see the screen?
Yeah.
All right. Now, let me tell you that the absolute best person to teach equine conformation is Mr. Kelly. But he has gone out to pick up some feed. So we're going to go through this ourselves and take a look at some of these things. So when the conversation comes up about balance in a horse, okay, you want to talk about how the horse is structured, and when they're structured correctly, when they have balance, they're going to move better, they're going to move smoother, and you'll get a better ride, bottom line. And he'll always be moving in balance. That is, if you're in balance on him. But structurally, for the horse itself, you kind of look for some things that will tell you whether or not a horse is going to give you a good kind of ride. So these are some examples that's on the screen of conformation of horses. Now, this first horse, everybody sees it? Yeah?
The one where it says figure 1?
Where the cursor is.
Figure 1?
Mm-hmm. So this is an illustration that a horse is in good balance. Now, what it says here is that the horse on the top, which is this one right here, represents good conformation. The top line. So what's the top line, guys?
Spine.
What is the top line?
The spine.
I can't read it. Do I have to zoom in? Oh, now I can. Okay, I see it.
Just look at it.
Okay, so the top line, you see my cursor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is considered the top line. Okay. So the top line is shorter than the underline, and that's this portion.
Bottom of the barrel.
Right, exactly, Grace. The horse on the bottom represents a horse with a long, weak back, and the top line and the underline are similar lengths. So what you want is a horse basically with a shorter back. But this is interesting because the length of the neck, let's say from the top of the crest down, should be in the same proportions as the length of the back. Now, tell me which horse we had that had a very long back.
Jamoki.
Jamoki.
Cookie.
And it made it kind of difficult to kind of get your balance on him, right?
Yeah.
Because he had a long, long back. So that's an illustration of a horse. So he was a little bit off balance. And then if he wasn't able to collect himself, you really got a rough ride.
Yeah.
This horse underneath.
The second horse looks like a wiener dog.
Y'all all over the place.
Gracie, really?
It's true.
Gracie.
A wiener dog?
Gracie.
Yes.
This second horse, who does he look like?
I mean, like.
I don't know what I look like.
Benson?
Vincent and
Not. I don't. Regarding the back.
Guys, I'll be right back.
What?
Nobody knows?
I would think
Chino?
No.
The body reminds me of Chino.
I know, right?
No. Chino had a better top line, a much better top line.
Are you talking about Billy?
Yes, I am.
Oh,
Thank you,
yeah.
Cassidy. Yes, I am. Now,
He's a slinky.
the difference is, Billy now is what, almost 30?
Yeah, Billy's old.
And he's lost a lot of muscle mass. So his conformation looks like that now, but when he was a lot younger, he had a stronger top line, and you didn't see that curve in the back. But that's at his age now, he's lost a lot of that top line muscle, so that's what he looks like now. Now, let me ask you a question. If we said earlier that you want the neck of the horse to be almost in the same proportions as the back, why do you think that's necessary? What is that neck helping to do? Jaleesa, you should be able to answer this.
Sorry, Mama, what was the question?
Oh my gosh.
Jaleesa, are you paying attention?
I got distracted really quick. My aunt called me.
Okay, so the question was, the neck of the horse, the length should be almost in the same proportion as the length of the back, the top.
Yes.
Why do you think that's necessary?
Because if it's not, it makes it uneven for the horse to do his proper movements because his head moves with his body at all times. So if his neck is shorter than his body, it's odd.
Great
I don't know if I
answer,
said it right.
but you're wrong. But it's a good answer though. So Maniko has a thick neck, right?
Yeah.
And it's a little bit shorter than his top line, correct?
Yeah.
And that gives him some difficulty in making turns, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because of that neck, that thick, muscular neck. So if his neck was longer, of course, he would have a better shot at turning better. Now, the turn isn't accomplished from the neck area, but it certainly helps. So how does a horse turn? How are you asking a horse to turn? What part of his body is turning? When you do the inside?
By bending.
He's bending at the
Fine.
at the ribs.
Fine.
At the ribs.
At the ribs.
At the ribs. And in order to turn successfully, he's using his
Hinds.
Say again?
His hinds.
His hindquarters. Correct.
What's everyone smiling?
All right.
Why are you happy? Be on your class.
Shut.
All right. Did somebody ask a question? No?
No, what's that
Isaiah,
doing?
Isaiah, are you following? Isaiah,
What?
are you following?
No.
No. Okay.
Distracted.
All right. I'm not gonna bother you. All right. So I'm gonna show you another screen.
I have no damn life.
Who's cussing? Was that you, Ty?
No.
Yes.
Ha!
No, that wasn't Tyler.
No.
Who was that?
I think it was me.
Who? Listen, I will come outside your house and wait for you in the bushes. With the last
Who was?
All right.
And Miss Kelly, I like the fact that you automatically thought it was me.
Oh, wow.
See myself.
Who else? All right.
It wasn't me.
Okay. All right. So this
I
is
can't
the
see
picture.
myself.
So the next screen is a picture of the parts of a horse. Everybody sees that?
Yes.
And we often talk about these parts, but I think what you need to know is some definitions of how these parts, what are these parts and what do they do? So for instance, the stifle. How many of you knew what the stifle does?
I do.
No.
You do?
Yeah.
Ty,
Huh?
tell me what does the stifle do? Now I know you can read, but tell me what it really does.
No, I can't. I can't
Ooh,
read.
can I say it? Is it the stifle like the knee?
No, Dina.
Was that Gracie?
Because like in class, like I learned that like the
Was that
stifle,
Gracie?
like,
No, Gracie.
No, that's Dina.
That's Dina?
Yes.
Say that.
Where's Dina?
And anyway,
Dina, are you hiding yourself with your iPhone? I can only see your eyebrows. Okay. Who else thinks they know what the stifle is? What it does?
Is it like a thigh or something? Yeah, it's like a thigh.
All right, Tiana, read for me what the stifle is.
Okay. The stifle is a complex hinge joint in the upper hind limb of the horse.
Oh, you want
The largest joint in the horse's body.
Hey guys, can y'all be quiet while she's reading? Thank you. Go ahead,
I'm gonna
T.
screenshot this.
Its role is to provide
Make notes is taking too long.
Gracie.
an extension on the hind limb, which allows the horse to move forward with smooth impulsion.
Okay. And so this stifle right here is a muscle that helps. Impulsion means what?
Move.
Just like
Quickly. Where Gracie? Look at her.
I need the words. Need the words. I haven't talked with someone actually in real life.
Word.
Words.
Move forward.
Well, we'll move forward with a little power.
Yes, giving
yes.
more.
All right. And so that reinforces our information that a horse moves from his hindquarters forward, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't grab the ground and pull himself forward. He moves forward from the hindquarters. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
The gaskin. Anybody knew before today what the gaskin does? Alyssa, read what the gaskin is.
Me?
Yeah.
The gaskin is
The gaskin is the muscular area between the stifle and the hock on a horse's back leg.
Okay.
Miss Kelly, can you go down a little?
What do you want me to do? Move it up?
Yeah.
Can I screenshot it or take notes?
Well, you should be taking the notes because you're going to get a test on it.
Yay!
And screenshot.
Same.
Of course you
I took notes and then I started screenshotting.
Wait, Miss Kelly, can you go back?
Ah, wait, Mama, go back.
No, more.
Screenshot.
And screenshot.
No!
Screenshot.
Got it.
All right. Let's go on. Let's go on. The hock. Gracie,
Yeah.
read the area about the hock.
The hock joint of the horse. The hock joint. The hock joints of your horse are located on the hind legs, just above the cannon bones. They are equivalent to the human ankle. The hock functions to carry weight, push off the earth, and allow your horse to run, jump, turn, and play.
Now, Dina, are you there? Dina.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, your boy Shorty jumped the fence and got out of the paddock.
I did that today.
And you remember, when we were training for the horse show, was it last year, how he always act like he was afraid of the cross rails?
Yeah.
This bad boy jumped a 4 foot. Well, no, Dami, how tall is that fence?
No, but Auntie left.
It's about 4. No, I didn't leave. It's about 4 feet, 3.5 to 4.
He jumped it and at a slow canter.
Oh, that's so and I missed it.
I did. You missed it.
And I missed it.
He jumped that.
Wow.
That's my shorty.
I know
That's your
that
shorty.
That's the honest boy.
You want me to hurt you?
So we're gonna need to do some intervention with Gracie. Gracie, you okay?
That's my shorty.
Oh, that's who's shorty?
Alyssa said that. So I was like, do you want Dina to hurt you?
Why? You have Billy.
I'm not gonna hurt her.
No, because
Just
Dina
have a
will
nice
fight Alyssa.
little talk. That's all.
Okay, we're gonna need to know about Gracie.
Y'all are aggressive.
Listen. So Dina,
Yeah.
when we get ready for the horse show, hopefully all of this stuff will be done. Hopefully, and you ride Shorty. If he acts like he doesn't want to jump, he's just playing you. All right?
Yeah.
Okay. So back to the hock.
Gracie, are you okay?
What the? Oh my God, Gracie.
I don't know. Poor Grace. Grace. I'm gonna need you to calm down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh. Okay. What are they owing about?
All right. Are we back? Are we back, everybody? So the hock, the hock is the joint that helps the horse do what?
Move around. Good. I can't talk right now.
And what else?
Play.
What else?
Run, jump, turn, and play.
And carry weight. Carry weight.
And push off the earth.
Okay, I'm gonna take you to another screen. And Cassidy.
Yeah.
I want you to tell me. See if I can get it.
I'm gonna get my screenshotting right.
I'm in a meeting.
Screenshot.
Forgets already. Forgets already. No, I'm about to walk out.
All right, computer, stop playing.
It's got a smartphone.
My teachers all week. Oh,
Look, what are you doing?
That one.
why is it so small?
It's a gypsy banner.
All right. So do you see the screen that's in front of you now?
Yeah.
Okay. I want you to look at the hindquarters of these five illustrations. All right. Cassidy.
Cowhocked? Yes.
Cowhock. What horse did we have whose hindquarters look like that?
Miss Kelly.
Yeah, wait, I'm asking a question to Cassidy. Hold on. Cassidy, which horse did we have that had hindquarters that look like that? It went all the way to the right. Anybody can weigh in on this.
Miss Kelly.
Yes, hi.
I'm about to go home. I'm not home. I'm at my aunt's house. And yeah, I was just letting you know.
Letting me know that you're leaving?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
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 Hi, wait, is Alexia here?
All right. Nobody's answered the question yet.
I did answer. I don't think you heard me.
Who?
I said Carter.
Right. And Carter had a hard time all the time with hitting himself too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Any other problem do you see here that matches one of the horses that we had?
Does Manico stand wide?
Yes, he does. But he's closer to the ideal position. He's closer to that than to stand wide.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I was debating on those two for him.
Anybody else?
Cookie might stand wide.
Cookie does stand wide.
Yeah.
I just did the same thing when I was grooming her.
Doesn't Strawberry stand close?
Yeah. That's me when I was grooming.
He looks like this.
No, I don't. I've not seen that.
I think it's straight.
It's a little bit of stands close.
This.
I'm not sure
A
which
little
one.
bit. Might be a little bit of bow-legged.
Okay. So listen, those of you who have the ability, screenshot this also.
Already did.
Already did that.
Okay. All right. So if we go back to this area again, we're looking for a horse that is what, Tiana? You want a horse's conformation to be what?
Miss Kelly, that's really blurry. Nobody can see that.
Can't see that?
I can't see that.
All right, let me try this.
That's not blurry.
I should be taking notes. What am I doing?
How's that?
Look at this.
Is that better?
Oh.
Is that? Let me get that one back up again.
What do you mean?
Well, there's a link.
Okay, this screen. Can you see that better?
Yes.
These illustrations are better. Okay. So the question is, listen up. Hi, Ira.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, good. So the question is, we want our horses to be what?
Balance.
Balance. Now, the problem with that is that you can't make a horse balance after you've bought the horse. So before you buy a horse, you're looking to see if he's balanced. Now, Handsome has a very, very, very hard trot, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
And it's called, what's another term for it that we use?
Stomper?
No. Ground pounding.
That's what it is, yeah.
Ground pounding. And why do you get such a hard trot with Handsome? What part of his body is conformed in
His
such a
front.
way that you get this hard trot?
He also ready to run.
It's his front, right, Mom?
It's what?
His front.
His front?
Mm-hmm.
You mean his whole front?
You talk about his front legs, Julissa?
I'm talking.
Yeah.
A part of his body that makes that trot so hard. Now, what is
Withers, maybe?
Withers? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Withers.
Viviana, what did you say?
He like bounces
Withers.
back, like
No,
Oh.
not the withers.
Shoulders?
Nope.
I don't know.
that stifly area.
Nope.
Neck
Nope.
legs?
All right.
His back?
No, good God. All right. So listen.
Oh, no.
If you're not listening, you're not going to get it.
Okay.
This area right here, the pastern area.
The pastern.
The angle of the pastern should represent the same angle of the shoulder. You get flexion here when he hits the ground. Gracie, pay attention.
I'm taking notes.
Look,
It's in the hallway.
when he hits the ground, he's going to get a greater flexion because that pastern in that area there is angled. Do you see how it's angled? Well, Handsome's pastern is not angled, it's straight up and down. So you don't get that cushion when he trots. That's why it's called ground pounding. You get that? So it's the pastern area where that flexion, when he hits the ground, I don't know if you can see this, when he hits the ground, he gets that cushion up because that angle area is there. But if it's not there, or if it's less than that, the trot is going to be harder. Do you understand? So it's not this here, it is this area right in here. Okay, and Handsome's pastern sits straight up and down, like that, and not like that. You see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you go to look for a horse, you look at a couple of things. You look to see if he has a nice angled shoulder, a long enough neck. You want a nice smaller head. You want soft eyes. You want a back that is going to be in proportion with the underline. Okay, you want a nice croup area. See that right there? Yeah. And you want good muscles in that area too. You would want that because a horse moves from his hind quarters. Correct. You want to see that angle in the pastern area because that's going to dictate how hard he's going to hit the ground. Okay, and then when you turn him around to look at him from the back, you want to make sure he's not knock-kneed or pigeon-toed or cow-hocked. You want to make sure that he's standing straight. Okay, so those are the things that you look at from the exterior. Okay, you want to see that balance there. And that balance, if it's correct, it's going to tell you what kind of ride you're going to get. And if you analyze it correctly, you'll be able to see this horse is going to give me a nice smooth ride, or this horse is going to give me a real hard ride. Okay. Y'all taking notes? Cause
yeah, Lexi eating a lot.
No, this one.
No, Lexi's eating a lot.
Cassidy.
Kelly, I eat a lot too.
I know you do. I know you do, but you're the one that won't gain weight. The rest of them will come back as roly-poly.
I have trouble gaining weight. Like I never put
you
on
don't
weight.
gain
Like,
weight. I've seen you.
Mama, I feel offended.
It's not you, sweetheart. It's the other greedies.
Lexi,
Okay, look, hush, hush. Hello. Be quiet. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't work, we won't do it because the internet is
it's slow.
Equine Conformation.
Oh, you're so sad.
Evaluates the degree of correctness of a horse's bone structure, musculature, and its body proportions in relation to each other. Undesirable conformation can limit the ability to perform a specific task. Although there are several universal faults, a horse's conformation is usually judged by what its intended use may be. Thus, form to function is one of the first set of traits considered in judging conformation. A horse with poor form for a Grand Prix show jumper could have excellent conformation for a world champion cutting horse, or to be a champion draft horse. Every horse has good and bad points of its conformation, and many horses excel even with conformation faults. The standard of the ideal head varies dramatically from breed to breed based on a mixture of the role the horse is bred for, and what breeders, owners, and enthusiasts find appealing. Breed standards frequently cite large eyes, a broad forehead, and a dry head to neck connection as important to correctness about the head. Traditionally, the length of head as measured from poll to upper lip should be 2/3 the length of the neck top line. Presumably, the construction of the horse's head influences its breathing, though there are few studies to support this. Historically, a width of 4 fingers, or 7.2 centimeters, was associated with an unrestricted airflow and greater endurance. However, a study in 2000 which compared the intermandatory width to size ratio of thoroughbreds with their racing success showed this to be untrue. The relationship between head conformation and performance are not well understood, and an appealing head may be more a matter of marketability than performance. Among mammals, morphology of the head often plays a role in temperature regulation. Many ungulates have a specialized network of blood vessels called the carotid artery, which keeps the brain cool while the body temperature rises during exercise. Horses lack a carotid artery and instead use their sinuses to cool blood around the brain. These factors suggest that the conformation of a horse's head influences its ability to regulate temperature.
A horse's head does what?
Maintain temperature.
So the horse's head is what is maintaining his temperature. And that's his nostrils, right? What kind of air he's able to bring in. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so one of the horse examples that we saw here has a common head, and that is where it seems to be a curve coming out of the poll area straight down rather than a dish kind of shape. What horse in our barn has a common head?
I don't know.
Silence. Billy?
Say?
Billy?
Billy.
Yeah,
That's
Billy.
Tiana said that. You're correct. Billy has a common head. It's called a common head. His head is kind of like, what is this called? Concave or what?
Concave?
Is it concave or is it When there's a curve outward.
Oh, convex.
Oh.
You guys are graduating from high school. I'm gonna choke you. You don't even know. Good God. All right, we got time for one more video, and then we're gonna end class. And
thank you, Miss Kelly.
Yeah, but not yet. We got one more.
Okay.
One more. Don't you guys miss Miss Dominique?
Yes.
Yes. I know.
Yes.
She kicked me out yesterday, and I miss her so much.
I did not.
She kicked me out, y'all.
No, I did not.
She took me and threw me out the front door. All right, we're gonna look
oh
at
my
this
goodness.
one. We're gonna look at this one.
I don't know why she telling y'all stories.
She threw me out. She threw me out. And I stood outside and I told her, I've been put out of better places than this. And she said,
are you kidding? Oh, stop it.
Crazy.
Hey, Miss Donnie.
Hey, babe.
Did you come in? Oh, she is there. A bird.
Oh, I've been here the whole time. I just turned the video off.
no, leave your video on so we can talk.
Auntie, I see you.
I see you too. Y'all crazy.
See you.
What? Where? I want to see. Auntie.
Come on, internet, for God's sake.
Oh, shoot, my computer.
Come on. Getting on my nerves.
If you write anything on your
Comcast messing around, I'm not paying them this month. Come on.
Where's my charger? There we go.
I'm sorry if I'm on mute a lot. I'm doing something to my room.
Comparison between the other two horses that
okay, here we go.
Showed you. Okay, in this horse, we're just going to go through general overall confirmation about him, and then we also will track this horse so you can appreciate some of the differences of the way that this horse is put together and the way he's going to track and move as compared to the other two other horses that we just went through. Now, this horse, you can see he overall is a bit different. The basic conformation factors apply to him, but he's going to be put together somewhat different than the other two horses. If you want to look at his head, he does not have as what you might say is breedy a head. He's a little bit long from his eye to his muzzle, still adequate in his eye, has a little bit more thickness through here, and just not quite as overall attractive a head as the previous two horses we showed you. Now, if you look over at his neck, I think this horse has a very good neck. He's clean in his throat latch. It's quite long, and we have no problem at all with this horse's neck. It still does tie in quite good between his front legs. However, where you start to see some differences in this horse is the makeup of his shoulder and the makeup of his hip, and we'll also show you how his front legs are. Upright in his shoulder, if you look at the distance here and the distance here, this distance is not as long as what you saw in the previous two horses, and he is much more upright in his shoulder, and you'll really see the effects of it as we track this horse out. You look at the anatomy or the side anatomy of his front leg. We still have a long forearm, a short cannon.
You too.
His feet maybe needs to be reset. However, all of that from the side is still quite adequate. However, if you move on back from the horse, looking at him from the side, you'll see that falls in with this shoulder that he probably has a longer back, okay? And we want the back to be longer than the underline. And this horse comes a little bit more close to being more even about those two ratios, in contrast to what we would prefer for the back to be shorter than the underline. So, and this is also indicative of a horse that is more upright in his shoulder and his withers are set more forward. As we move back through this horse's hip, okay, he has a nice turn. He's relatively long in his hip. However, his hind leg has a little bit more set to his hock, is not as correctly angled on this hind leg as what we would like to see in comparison to the previous two horses that you saw. Now, if we would turn and look at him from the front, you'll see some differences in the conformation of this horse's front legs. Okay, the previous horses were really quite straight as you walk down them, not absolutely straight, because no horse is, but they were relatively straight. As you look down through this horse's front legs, you can see that his knees are somewhat set out to the outside, especially on the left leg, and you'll see it even greater as we track and move this horse, that he does come down, and he is a bit pigeon-toed in front. You can see here through his foot, if you look down through the center, is a little bit twisted and set to the outside, and he's not down here quite as true and straight as it would like the horse.
You guys see that?
In addition, he's not clean in his legs and joints as the previous horses. He does have a bit of a splint here, a little bit of puffiness and thickness in through his joints. In addition, especially compared to the sorrel horse, he's a little bit heavier in his bone, not quite as refined as the horse, giving him. You know,
I gotta go.
Okay, honey. Compared to
okay, thank you. Bye.
All of this here is a really good example of, again, as Libby would say, how form will depict his function. As we watch him track around here, if you focus first on the front half of this horse with his front leg, we talked about that he had a straighter, more upstanding, was more upright in his shoulder. Okay, if you look how he tracks out and moves with his front leg, this horse has a lot of bend with his front leg. As some of our folks would say, shows you quite a bit of knee, is up and down in his motion, and is trotting out of his leg rather than his shoulder. Okay, those horses that we previously showed you that had more slope to their shoulder really reached and swung more from their shoulder and did not have quite as much bend with that front leg.
Okay, are you guys seeing that?
Yeah.
Okay, what she's saying is that when he's moving, he's not getting that leg out. That leg is, he's more moving that knee out. The knee is more prominent coming out than that shoulder. And it's preferential that you want that shoulder, that leg to come out. That's what she's saying. You guys did see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Come around, you can also see that this horse does turn in significantly with his front feet and is strictly pigeon-toed. Okay. When we, if you look at his hind leg though, with the set to his hock and that, this horse really still does track up fairly well with his hind leg.
Okay, tracking. Anybody knows what that means, tracking up? How should that hind leg track up? Ladies, how should that hind leg track up? The footprints that the front feet make in the sand, those hind legs should come right into almost that same area. You get that? So when she says he's tracking up nice, that means he's moving under himself good. Those hind legs are coming under well. Okay, we only got a few more minutes of this.
And steps up fairly close between the outside foot or his hind foot and his front foot in his tracks, but he's very short in front. We also, another way to describe him is say that he's short and he's fairly quick, which you can see to a greater extent even when she pushes him into that long trot. Okay, after he gets done playing here just a bit, we'll push him into his lope. Okay. And sometimes they say that things really come out a little bit more as you increase the gait, okay? As you watch this horse slope around, you can see that he is, has quite a bit of bend in that front leg, takes a very short stride with his front leg, lifts that knee up and throws it out. However, where we like him is if you look back through his hock, he has a lot of swing to his hock. His hock reaches up fairly forward and stays underneath himself quite well, okay? So we would prefer the horse to be a little bit flatter in front, but he's just not going to be able to do that because of the anatomy and the conformation of the way his front leg is, or the way his shoulder is.
His shoulder, yeah. Okay, I don't know if you guys got anything out of that, but I hope you did because it's going to be a test on it. Okay. All right, so listen, class is over right now. So I want to tell you that I miss you guys, and I'm hoping that this stuff, oh, look at the little kitty. I'm hoping that this stuff comes to an end soon and we can get back together. And, but until then, we'll have our Thursday classes. Okay, sweetums?
Okay.
All right, babes.
Twix, say bye.
Bye. Wait, Mama.
Bye, honey.
We love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Okay.